Thanks, Mr. Chair. You know, there's been a good discussion here today. I think that a lot of this does revolve around money. I think much of it revolves around technology. I think that Mr. Perlmutter might want to change that bumper sticker and just the first number. You don't have to change the second number, but the first number in the years there. It's not going to be 2033. We are way a ways from going to Mars and getting back. We can go to Mars, but getting back is going to be a problem. I think that one of the discussions about Apollo 13, when you're 100,000 miles away, it's a lot different than when you're 25 million miles away. There is no help at 25 million miles, so that is a distinct problem that Americans probably will not take for their astronauts to be in that kind of peril anytime soon. The second thing is money. If we're going to spend $12 billion on this over the next 15 years or 17 years to get us there, that will be a issue. Right now, NASA only spends about 3% of their budget on aeronautics. And I have complained about that, and I'll complain about that as long as I'm in Congress. I think that that is criminal, that we spend 3% of our budget on aeronautics. When a lot of the products that comes out of NASA is for us right here, either in general aviation or in commercial aviation, and we still only spend 3%. We've been working on scramjet technology for 50 years. We are still working on that. We are still a ways away from that. And I think that that technology is part of a big problem. But I have a question. And that is on the lines of the experiments we've done in the space station, and one of the experiments that's happening right now with a twin on the ground and a twin at the space station for a year. Do any of you believe that at this point we can say that safely a man can travel or a woman can travel to Mars and be returned to Mars in maybe a 2.5-year mission? And with what we know today, do you believe that that is doable, feasible? Not doable that, yes, we will get something back, but that that person will come back.
I think it poses a significant risk based on what we know. NASA actually has a pretty good human research program, but given the resources that they're dealing with, there are significant uncertainties about what the microgravity and the radiation impact, to say nothing of the chemical hazards that Mars might do to the health of astronauts.
My second question, I think you hit on it earlier, is the propulsion. Our propulsion hasn't changed in many, many years, from basically the beginning of rockets. It's going to take us about a year to get to Mars today. Do you see over the next 15 or 20 years some sort of propulsion system that is going to speed that up dramatically so that we can get to Mars in maybe a less than 6-month period?
Certainly I don't see it happening if we don't work on it.
And I would make that statement to everything. If we spend the money and we work on it, I believe that the American ingenuity can do this. I believe that we can do this in that time period. I don't think that there is a push to do it, and I don't think there is a push to do it consistently. And Mr. Rohrabacher talked about an awful lot of programs that, and Mr. Young talked about the headstones in the cemetery. I believe that, but I also believe that you get things from that. There was a program in the late 50s and early 60s called the X-20 Dinosaur. I think that that was the first space shuttle that we would have ever built, and it would have been very successful. We abandoned that program for lack of a mission and for funding, and we wanted to send a man to the moon. I think that we learned an awful lot from the X-20 Dinosaur, and I think if Jeff Greason from X-Corps was here today, he would say we learned an awful lot, because he's building something that is very similar to the X-20 Dinosaur. So just because a program was canceled or just because a program never left the launching pad doesn't mean we didn't learn something from it. It doesn't mean that that money might not have been well spent. But I will agree with Mr. Rohrabacher. If we don't use the program and we spend hundreds of billions or tens of billions, the taxpayers do feel at a loss. So I think that NASA can do anything that they put their mind to and anything that we can fund. Thank you, Mr. Chair.